Well, let's return to our main story. That vote by MPs later on whether to approve plans to expand Europe's busiest airport at Heathrow. Ahead of the vote, officials said that the £14 billion expansion would create 114,000 extra jobs in the area by 2030. But Friends of the Earth say that the plans are morally reprehensible and claim that they would see the enlarged airport emitting as much carbon as the whole of Portugal. Well, joining me from our central London studios, James Woudhuysen, Professor of Forecasting and Innovation at London South Bank University. We obviously have to wait for the vote this afternoon, don't we, to see if it is going to go through. But if it is going to go through, what can we do in technological terms to lessen the environmental impact?
Well, there's a lot that can be done, and I'm grateful for the question because technological innovation is all too rarely discussed by both opponents and enthusiasts for Heathrow expansion. Just to get the Friends of the Earth statistic in proportion, the emissions by Portugal have come down, carbon emissions, in the last few years to about 50 million tonnes of CO2 a year. The global carbon emissions, which are going up rather sadly, bad for climate change, are 32.5 billion tonnes of CO2. So you're looking at about 1 in 1,000 or 2 in 1,000 CO2 emissions going up. That's the contribution that Heathrow would make. Actually less than 1%, more like 0.1% in terms of their impact. So it's just scaremongering of the usual sort and the usual juggling with figures that environmentalists tend to do. I think with more efficient aircraft engines, we can get fewer carbon emissions, and they can be lowered that way. We can have engine shrouding to deal with the noise. We could, the government could offer double or secondary glazing for all the homes. I'm one of them under the flight path, or better still, build new homes in factories with secondary glazing and acoustically insulated roofs on a large scale. So I think in terms of carbon emissions and noise, we can do a lot. We could also reprogram the flight schedules and improve the technology in air traffic control in Europe, which is very poor and overloaded, so that we can schedule flights and holding patterns and landings and all the rest of it, so they don't wake me up as they do at the moment because I'm in the flight path of 5 o'clock in the morning. So there's a lot that we could do, and this is without going to the long term where there is a possibility, it's overrated at the moment, of electric aircraft. That's to say, aircraft assisted by batteries which are charged from electricity, hopefully that doesn't send out carbon emissions. So, we need to bear in mind the technological capabilities we have for dealing with climate change, for dealing with noise, and also on air quality. We can begin to see around the world's cities giant scrubbing devices that are cleaning up the air and, generally speaking, making the environments of Beijing, which is going to be sending us a lot more flights all around Britain over the next few years. If you go to Beijing, they're installing air scrubbers throughout certain parts of the city. And I think a similar commitment to research and development and air quality around Heathrow could begin to solve some of the problems that expansion would bring.
But aren't those all solutions, very high-tech solutions to what is a very old technology? Isn't the argument that actually we shouldn't need to fly so much? We certainly shouldn't need to fly for business. We should all be more judicious about how often we fly abroad for holidays. Flying is old technology, as getting in old petrol and diesel cars is old technology. Don't we need to change that and change the mindset of people?
No. We need to trade and have fun with holidays in America. You're not going to build a rail bridge or a car bridge to Newfoundland or to New York City anytime soon. People who, like Friends of the Earth and Plain Stupid, who want to patronise normal people for wanting to do business or go on holiday, long haul or short haul, are forgetting that we need to grow our economy. It's very weak in Britain. Productivity growth is slowing, and airports and transport links in general, including airports and high-speed rail links all around Britain and Scotland and all the rest of it, they are part of the productivity growth that we need, the jobs growth that we need. The impact on the environment is pretty modest compared with the benefit that will come.
James Woudhuysen, we're out of time, I'm afraid, but good to talk to you. Thanks so much.